The big idea. Should we embrace boredom? Feeling bored? Good. That might be the hidden key to breakthroughs in business. And today, I'll tell you why.
Welcome to Business News Learning Channel. 如果你喜欢我们的平台，请记得点赞，你的支持会帮助我们表现得更好。Thank you, and let us dive into the topic today.
The big idea. Should we embrace boredom? Level 2, Intermediate. Smartphones offer instant stimulation, but do they silence a deeper message? 1. In 2014, a group of researchers from Harvard University and the University of Virginia asked people to sit alone for 15 minutes. The only thing they could do was press a button that gave them a painful electric shock. Almost half of the people in the experiment pressed it. The study's authors concluded that people prefer doing to thinking, even if the only thing to do is painful. 2. Since the development of smartphones, most of us have been walking around with a device that can stop us feeling bored, even if it's not good for us. We often reach for our phones for something to do. This isn't always a bad thing, but it's worth noting that most people distract themselves in very similar ways. 3. Smartphones have also increased the pressure to use our time well. To sit and do nothing is seen as a waste of time. But that ignores the fact that when we're doing nothing, we're often thinking quite hard. What happens to all those difficult thoughts that start to form in the seconds before we look at our phones again? 4. Most psychologists would agree that boredom is a useful emotion. According to Aaron Westgate, assistant professor of psychology at the University of Florida, we become bored if something doesn't absorb our attention, or when we believe it to be meaningless. But when we are bored, we should realize the need to do something more interesting. However, if people don't react in the right way to their boredom, they may find themselves becoming chronically bored. That is associated with a number of different problems, including depression and anxiety. 5. There is evidence to suggest that chronic boredom is becoming more common, and that this is because of smartphones. In a study published in 2024, researchers noted that the number of students in China and the US who described themselves as bored increased in the years after 2010, when smartphones became popular. Why did this happen? Research has shown that the main reason we pick up our phones is because we are bored, but that the behavior actually makes it worse. One study, for instance, found that people who were bored at work were more likely to use their smartphones, and then felt even more bored. 6. The average American spends more than 4 hours a day on their smartphone, and more than 7 hours a day in total online. That adds up to spending 17 years of your adult life online. When boredom strikes, we should try not to reach for our phones instantly. Instead, we should see it as an opportunity to connect with friends or our community or try something different or new. The people who don't mind being bored, at least for a short time, may actually experience less of it. It could even be the first step towards a life that feels more meaningful and freer. That is our news for today. 谢谢您的聆听. Back to you, Dave.
谢谢你 Casey。各位都明白以上的内容吗？如果想练习今天的单字，千万别错过我本课文的单字练习哦。期待再见。
拜拜。